Yo, what's going on? Mike from Mike Talk Sports. As the Buccaneers continue to battle for their division, Rachaad White has stepped up to the table and he's playing amazing, and that was no different yesterday as versus the Packers. He had 139 all-purpose yards from scrimmage and one total touchdown. So in today's episode of Mike Talk Sports, I'm going to be diving into Rachaad White and why his effectiveness is starting to really translate into wins for the Buccaneers. Even though the skill set has always been there for Rachaad White, it wasn't necessarily translating into efficient offense for the Bucs. So in the first 10 weeks of this season, Rachaad White averaged 71.5 yards from scrimmage per game on 18.2 touches per game, which really just wasn't moving the needle for this Buccaneers offense. But now in the last 4 weeks, Rachaad has averaged 122.5 yards from scrimmage per game on 22.5 touches per game, which is an average of 5.5 yards per touch compared to 4.4 yards per touch in the beginning of this season. So what's been the difference for Rachaad White in this offense? Has he just suddenly overnight gotten better? No, I don't think that's the case. I think the main significant reason to why this Buccaneers offense, and more specifically Rachaad White, is starting to look good is because of their mentality and a complete shift in Todd Bowles' mentality. Before the last 4 weeks, Todd Bowles has been somewhat stubborn in playing that defensively oriented run-first mentality. We are going to run the ball over and over in the first couple of quarters of the football game and control the pace and control the clock with the defense. But of course, this just was not translating to wins. They don't have a good enough defense to execute this style of football. And Baker Mayfield even came out in the media in October and said this is not a run-first football team. We are not going to be winning football games with this run-first mentality. And Rachaad White responded to this and he actually agreed. So to me, the main reason to why the Buccaneers really are starting to play better, and more specifically with Rachaad White, is because of this pass first, run later mentality over this run first, pass later mentality. It really is opening everything up for Rachaad White and making their offense significantly less predictable. And look no further for a good example of this new mentality and this shift in mentality than yesterday versus the Packers. The Packers actually had some really nice offensive possessions, moving the ball up and down the field with Jordan Love, but it didn't matter because the Buccaneers offense was absolutely rolling. Let's look at some of their touchdown drives now to paint the picture of what I mean by this pass first, run later mentality that they've started to implement. So again, in their first touchdown drive, they had 4 passes and 3 runs, a really nice balance and a really nice mix, but they are favoring the pass over the run early on in the game. And again, in their second touchdown drive, they had 6 passes and 2 run plays. Again, this was early on in the game, really prioritizing that pass to later open up the run game with Rachaad White. And of course, it's not like they're completely ignoring Rachaad White when they have this pass first mentality either, because he's such a damn good receiving back. Then in the third touchdown drive of the game, when the Buccaneers started to mount a lead, they still had somewhat of a balance between the pass and the run. They didn't get too conservative as they've done in the past, blowing some leads earlier on in the season. They didn't get overly conservative. They were still mixing in the run and the pass. So in their third touchdown drive, they had 3 passes and 3 run plays, and that drive of course ended with a 52-yard passing touchdown. So what makes Rachaad White so special for this Buccaneers offense, and what makes me believe that he's worthy of a Pro Bowl vote this season regardless of the stats? His stats absolutely back up a Pro Bowl nod, as he's 3rd in the entire NFL in yards from scrimmage. But again, regardless of the stats, it's the skill set that Rachaad brings to the table. One of my favorite qualities and traits for a running back is something that Rachaad White has, and it's that north-south mentality. He hits the hole immediately when no guys are in the backfield, and when somebody is in the backfield, he does a great job at having a one-cut mentality instead of dancing in the backfield. And when you dance in the backfield, it gives those slower defensive linemen time to catch up to you, whereas if you hit them with the one cut, they are going to have no chance but to be blown out of the play. Rachaad really has so many traits that are very similar to Alvin Kamara in the sense that he has this patient pace to his game. It doesn't seem as though he's running at 100%. It seems as though he's not going that fast, and the next thing you know, he outruns the entire defense. A great example of this is in the Falcons game on that long touchdown he had. He's also an extremely high effort guy. He fights for every single yard, especially on short yardage situations on fourth downs. So not only is he excellent at making guys miss in the first level of the defense on that defensive line, but of course he does a phenomenal job at making guys miss at the second and third level too. He has a nice tool belt to his arsenal as he hits the guys with the one cut that are on the defensive line, and then once he hits the second and third level, he has nice juke moves to go to. As a runner, he also has very solid vision, but to wrap it up with Rachaad White, it's the receiving game that is really top level. It's top 10 in the NFL for a running back, in my opinion. He has really nice hands. He has nice contested catch ability as well, but in the route running game, he runs every single route in the running back route tree, and he can even run some routes in the slot. He's just way too fast and agile and overall intelligent for linebackers to cover him, and he's too damn physical for safeties. You really do need to play nickel when you play the Buccaneers, so you can have a cornerback on Rachaad White coming out of the backfield, but even then, he's going to start to out-physical you and gash you in the run game if you do this. Thanks for watching today's episode of Mike Talk Sports. Let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on this Buccaneers team? Can they make noise in the playoffs? And what are your thoughts on Rachaad White? Do you agree with my take that he's absolutely a Pro Bowl caliber running back this season? If you enjoyed today's episode of Mike Talk Sports, I really appreciate it, guys. Smack that like and hit subscribe.